The new resident witness, Mr. Arthur Pym, age 42. A man in a gray suit driving a gray sedan with a gray haze where his memories ought to be. He is a man who believes in the sanctity of the fresh start, the American dream of reinvention. He is currently driving past a sign that reads, "Welcome to Oak Haven, a nice place to live." A slogan that is about to be tested to its breaking point. Mr. Pym is under the impression that he is running to something. A quiet life, a front porch, a Sunday paper. He is blissfully unaware that he is actually running from a shadow that does not detach when the sun goes down. In a moment, he will turn the key to a house that has been waiting for him, in a town that has been holding its breath for him. Mr. Arthur Pym is about to discover that you can move across the country, change your name, and buy a new suit, but the baggage you carry in your soul, that, unfortunately, has no check-in counter. He is parking his car now, stepping onto the pavement of a street that leads directly into Submitted for Your Approval. You unlock this app with the key of curiosity. Beyond it is another dimension, a dimension not of pixels and code, but of mind. You are scrolling through a middle ground between light and shadow, between the algorithms we trust and the superstitions we fear. It is a journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop is a collection of curiosities, ironies, and tales from the edge of reality. They are submitted for your approval. Part 1. The Sunset Curfew. Submitted for your approval. Mr. Arthur Pym, a man of middling years and middling ambition, who has recently sought a quiet life in the sleepy borough of Oak Haven. He is a man running from a past he cannot quite recall into a future he will not survive. Arthur believes he has found sanctuary in this town of white picket fences and manicured lawns. But take a closer look at the residents of Oak Haven. Notice the way they check their watches as the sun begins to dip. Notice the frantic pace of the shopkeepers locking their doors at 5:59 p.m. Oak Haven is a ghost town without the ghosts, for the specters here are still very much alive, and they are terrified. Part 2. The Silent Treatment. Arthur walked down Main Street, the click of his heels echoing like gunshots in the unnatural silence. It was noon, yet the town felt held breath. He tipped his hat to Mrs. Gable outside the bakery. She didn't just ignore him, she froze, her eyes wide, fixed on a point somewhere over his left shoulder, as if looking at him would turn her to stone. "Fine day," Arthur offered. Mrs. Gable dropped her basket of apples. They rolled into the gutter, but she didn't move to retrieve them. She simply backed away, her hand trembling over her mouth. It was the same everywhere. The postmen crossed the street to avoid him. The diner fell silent when he entered. They knew him, he was sure of it, but their recognition was wrapped in a dread so thick it was suffocating. Arthur assumed he was merely an outsider, unaware that in their eyes he was a walking omen. Part 3. The Warning. It was a Tuesday when the facade cracked. Arthur was walking near the park, the only place where the silence was broken by the hushed play of children. He stopped to tie his shoe, and when he stood up, he found a boy staring at him. The child, no older than 10, was pale, his eyes darting between Arthur and the lengthening shadows of the elm trees. Arthur smiled. "Hello there, son." The boy didn't smile back. His face contorted in pure, unadulterated horror. He pointed a shaking finger at Arthur. "The Shadow Man!" he screamed, the sound tearing through the quiet street. "The Shadow Man is coming! He's here!" The other children scattered like leaves in a gale. The boy turned and ran, his screams fading into the distance. "The Shadow Man is coming!" Part 4. The House on the Hill. Arthur stood rooted to the spot, a cold knot forming in his stomach. Curiosity, that most dangerous of human traits, took hold. He followed the boy, keeping a distance, watching as the child scrambled up the overgrown path leading to the old Miller place. an abandoned Victorian relic looming over the town like a tombstone. He watched the boy disappear into the dark maw of the front door. Arthur approached the porch, the wood groaning under his weight. He reached for the knob, but his hand stopped. A sudden, sharp pain spiked behind his eyes, a migraine so intense it nearly brought him to his knees. "He's not mine," Arthur muttered to himself, the words tasting like ash. "Just a scared kid, not my business." He turned around and walked away, leaving the house and the boy to the encroaching dark. Part 5. The headline. That night, the headache didn't leave. It burrowed deeper. Arthur sat in his study, surrounded by boxes he hadn't unpacked. Desperate for distraction, he pulled a stack of old newspapers from a closet shelf, left by the previous tenant, he assumed. He idly flipped through the yellowed pages of the Oak Haven Gazette. His eyes scanned the local gossip until they landed on a headline from 6 months ago. "Tragedy at Miller House. Boy found dead." Arthur read the article, his breath hitching. The description of the boy, it was the kid from the park. The same hair, the same clothes. But the date, this paper was old. The boy he saw today was a ghost? No, he looked solid, real. Then he saw the sub-headline. "Police seek shadow man. Suspect believed to be new resident." The pain in his head exploded. Images flashed, not of reading the paper, but of being there. The smell of the old wood in the Miller house. The sound of the boy screaming, "Shadow man," not at a monster, but at him. Part 6. The reflection. Arthur stumbled to the bathroom mirror. The face staring back was pale, sweating, and familiar. Not just as his own reflection, but as the face on the wanted posters he had subconsciously ignored on every telephone pole in town. The blockage in his mind crumbled. He wasn't new to Oak Haven. He had been here for months, hiding in plain sight, his mind fracturing to protect him from the horror of his own actions. The townspeople weren't being rude. They were paralyzed. They were living in a nightmare where the monster walked among them, greeting them with a smile, unaware of the blood on his hands. The sirens began to wail in the distance. They had finally built the courage to call. Arthur Pym straightened his tie, the migraine fading into a dull throb of clarity. Mr. Arthur Pym, a man who moved to a new town to escape a shadow, only to find that the shadow was cast by his own soul. He sought a quiet life in Oak Haven, but found instead a loud and terrible truth, that you can run from the law, and you can run from your neighbors, but you can never outrun the stranger in the mirror. A case filed under G for guilty